And for more, we're going to welcome in economist and author of Aid Inferno, Emily Brearley, and president and CEO at the Jobs Creators Network, Alfredo Ortiz. Thank you both so much for coming on this morning. Appreciate it. Emily, I want to start with you. I want to get your thoughts on the president's State of the Union address last night. And what stood out to you as far as talking about the economy?
Well, remember, I'm a new immigrant. I became an American citizen last year, and I love the State of the Union. I love 4th of July. Yesterday was like Oscars for Washington, D.C. nerds, and it was a really happy, upbeat message that the president gave. Let's say it together. Our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, stronger than ever before. And you could say the same about the economy. And he ticked off all the achievements down the line. And I, for one, found it very exciting and uplifting. I hope the American people did too.
Yeah, and Alfredo, the president focused, as you know, a lot on his successes in rebounding the economy from a Biden era that included, includes no taxes on tips. President Trump's putting that in place, overtime and Social Security, among other things. So, Alfredo, what impact are these actions already having on businesses and the economy?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's first of all, I want to say it was an excellent speech. I love how he always knows how to poke the bear, quite frankly. And there's going to be some viral moments there of the Democrats not standing up for patriotism, which is just a sad state of affairs. There are several areas there where it was pretty shameful. But overall, on the economic message, I mean, I think he nailed it. Outlining, all of his accomplishments. I loved how he brought in the couple that saved $5,000 from no taxes on tips and no tax on overtime, highlighting the real life stories. As a organization that represents 33 million small businesses across the country, the voice of small business, I would have loved for him to actually highlight what was in the One Big Beautiful Bill that helped our small businesses so tremendously, which was the immediate expensing and actually bringing that back to 100% immediate expensing for investments, and then also the 20% tax deduction. Those two alone are game changers for our small businesses. And when you think about 33 million small businesses out there that employ over 65 million folks or whatnot, and 2/3 of new job growth is in their hands, right? Putting juice into the gas tank of our small businesses the way he did in the One Big Beautiful Bill, that's going to have a huge impact in a positive way in 2026. And I think highlighting that would have been just kind of like the cherry on top of an excellent speech.
Yeah, for sure. And another major win I think the president had was he was talking about lowering the gas prices, which he did tremendously. And here's what he had to say about it last night.
Gasoline, which reached a peak of over $6 a gallon in some states under my predecessor, it was quite honestly a disaster, is now below $2.30 a gallon in most states, and in some places $1.99 a gallon. And when I visited the great state of Iowa just a few weeks ago, I even saw $1.85 a gallon for gasoline.
And that's really huge, Emily, because that doesn't just keep more money in the pockets of Americans, but lower gas prices has a trickle-down effect in just about every aspect.
That's right. And I think for me as a development economist, I care about the poorest of the poor. This was one of the most pro-poor, pro-working men and women speeches that I've ever seen in a State of the Union. It was very exciting to me to hear a president caring about the little guy. I don't think we've seen that before. And remember that this is the reason that the president won the election. He got a lot of Democrats like me supporting him because he was pushing on and bringing down inflation and reducing immigration. And remember last week we saw in the jobs report that this has really helped increase good jobs. 500,000 immigrants have left, 2 million of their own accord, and this has increased good jobs for American people. And we saw that in the speech. It was very nice to listen. It left a smile on my face.
Absolutely. Well, the president also outlined plans to restrict large corporations and investors from really buying up a vast number of single-family homes. And Alfredo, I want to ask you your thoughts on that. And do you see this, as a potential upside for home buyers? And how is this going to impact the housing market?
Yeah, absolutely. That is definitely going to be a big positive. In addition to, I think, a new Fed chair that's coming in the spring. I think Kevin truly understands the impact of rates on the economy, and that growth is not what causes actually inflation. And so from that perspective, I think we're going to see rates come down in addition to the housing actions that Trump has been working on and did announce yesterday. More of those actions. And so, and in regards to the energy, if I just come back for 1 second on that, it's really even beyond the gas prices, but really energy overall. One of the major planks of the president was deregulation. Remember, Biden's administration caused over $2 trillion of basically regulation costs and taxes effectively on the American economy. And so that's going away. And so part of that is also his ability to focus on bringing energy back to America and making us a net domestic producer of energy. And so that's a real positive that's going to flow through the economy as well.
Yeah, Emily, do you want to jump off of that? Any thoughts?
I thought that the introduction of this payer protection pledge regarding energy was very interesting because people are very worried. I live in D.C. We're always talking about what are those AI companies doing, raising our energy rates. So that was an interesting mention by the president. We have to see the details. And I also wanted to hark back to what the panelists said about housing. Remember, we just had the housing bill passed, and there we're going to have community banks being able to help young people and poorer people get on the housing ladder. It's not just bringing down mortgage prices, it's rent-to-buy programs. And so, again, I go back to the theme that this was really a very pro-working class, working the average Joe and Jane kind of speech, and I really liked seeing it.
We have probably about 20 seconds left. Alfredo, I want to go over to you. How do you see the state of our economy right now?
I think it's great. With the One Big Beautiful Bill, all the elements of it really taking place in 2026, I think it's going to be a booming economy. I think we're going to see at least 3.5% to 4% GDP per quarter, as long as there's no more government shutdowns, which the Democrats seem to like doing. But outside of that, I think we're going to see a booming 2026. And so if you're not invested in the market, you better get invested.
There you go. Emily, do you agree?
Well, even the babies are invested now in the market, as the president reminded us with his Trump accounts for children born this year and throughout his administration. And again, I think this is a wonderful message that we can all get involved and benefit from the bigger, better, richer, stronger America. I'm going to keep quoting this all day.
We love that. All right, Emily Brearley, Alfredo Ortiz, thank you both so much. Great to get your insights.
Thank you.